Pterodactyl here, and it's January 2020, and we're about ready to start our year-long fuel additive experiment out here in this metal shed. What we're going to do is we're going to test 8 different fuel additives in 10 engines, and after a year, we're going to see which ones start. We're going to do this every month. We're going to come out here and start these engines. So who knows? Maybe January 2021, maybe all these engines will start. But we're going to find out. So this is what I came up with for our fuel experiment to keep it kind of even and fair. So one thing that we're going to do is we got a calendar because we're going to come out here every month and start these engines. And we have a temperature gauge so we can show you every month what the temperature is. Now right now it's January and it's 50 degrees. Next week it could be 20 degrees here because we live in a part of the country where we have 100-degree different range in temperature. It gets to below zero here in Podunk, Indiana, all the way up to 100 degrees in the summertime. So we have a 100-degree range there. And there's 2 things that ruin fuel fastest, and that's extreme heat and extreme cold. Plus being in a metal shed is like a hot box, so it may deteriorate it even faster. So I constructed a wooden bench to mount the 10 engines to. So this is the bench that we constructed. Now 2 of these engines are going to have just regular straight fuel with no additive in it. One's going to have the lowest octane, 87, and the other one's going to have 93 octane in it. And the other 8 engines are going to have the most popular fuel additives that are out there on the market today, that I think are the most popular. Now I know what you're going to say is, Taryl, why did you use this fuel additive? That's what I use. Taryl, why did you use that fuel additive? That's what I use. Because I'm using these 8, okay? So the Aaron's Gravely Company donated these 10 Subaru engines. These just small overhead valve, single cylinder, popular engines that everybody's got on their lawn equipment, their push mowers, log splitters, other equipment. So that's what we wanted to use, a small, low compression, outdoor power equipment engine. And they were nice enough to donate 10 engines for this experiment. Now what we've also done is, if you notice on the bench, is we cut holes and we got mason jars in there. Now each one of these mason jars has the fuel additive in it. Number 5 here has seafoam. So the seafoam is in the gasoline now. This jar is sealed so no air gets to it, and that'll protect it and keep it fresh. The other jar has a hole in it so air can get to it. So over this course of this experiment, we'll be able to see if there's a color change in the fuel. And we've done that to all 10 engines. They each got 2 mason jars. Because I went online and I tried to look at other experiments that people did, and it's basically just on a bench with mixing it in a jar and showing it and all that stuff. So we wanted to do a real test for like what real people do. And with my experience in this industry, I found that people who store their equipment in metal sheds, the gasoline deteriorates a lot faster. So we're going to see. I'm curious to see. So you're going to have to tune in every month. Now we filled these engines with 5W30 motor oil because that's an all-weather oil. That's what they recommend you use in a snowblower, which is in cold conditions, and it'll be able to take the heat too, because we're only going to run these once a month for about a minute or 2. And now let's go over the 8 additives that we're using in the engines. Drum roll, please. Engine number 3, VP small engine fuel. Engine number 4, the all-popular K100. We make water burn. The also ever so popular Seafoam. Engine number 5. Engine 6, Sten's Shield. Number 7, Ethanol Shield by the makers of Mechanic in a Bottle. Sta-Bil 360 for 360 degrees of performance and protection. Kinetics Gas Guardian, formerly the Briggs & Stratton. fuel additive. And number 10, Startron, Star Bright. Star Bright, Starlight, Startron. So for this experiment, we're using 2.5 gallon gas cans, and we mixed the product according to the manufacturer's label. And some of these cans have 2 gallons of gas, and there's 2 of them that have 2.5 gallons of gas, because it was easier to mix it, because it would say mix 1 ounce to 2.5 gallons of gas. So it's make it more equal, if you know what I'm saying. And some of them have 2 gallons, because they say 1 ounce to a gallon, ½ ounce to a gallon. So we mixed it that way to make it all even. But 2 cans have 2.5 gallons of gas in it. Now we just went to our local store and bought pump fuel from our local gas station. It's 87 octane is what we put in all the engines with the fuel treatment. And then we have, of course, the one engine, like I explained, that has nothing but straight 87 octane in it, no fuel additives. And we have one that has 93 octane in it. Because some of these experts say that if you use a higher grade fuel, it'll have a longer shelf life. So we're going to see if that's true. So that's why we have one with just 93. So before we start, we're going to test the alcohol content in this pump fuel. And I have what's called an alcohol tester, and it'll tell you what percentage of alcohol is in the gas. So we're going to test the 87, the 93, and we're going to test the VP, which says it has no alcohol in it. So this glass vial is what's called an alcohol tester. It tests the amount of alcohol in gasoline, and it works pretty simply. You put water in this vial up to this line, and then from this line to this line you fill it with gasoline, and you shake it vigorously, and then you stand it up and you let it set for about 5 minutes, and it'll tell you the percentage of alcohol that's in the gas. And if you look, it's right at 10%, the water line. So this has got 10%, exactly 10% ethanol in it. This is the 87 octane. Now we're going to test the 93 octane. There's our water at the water level. We'll fill the rest with the 93. Put the cap on. Now we gotta wait about 5 minutes. Looks like the 93's got exactly 10% ethanol in it also. So next we'll have to do the VP. So VP, their fuel is what they say it is. No ethanol, no alcohol in it. There's the water at the water line, and there's the fuel. There's no percentage of alcohol in this fuel at all. The tanks are full. Let's start them up. And it's February 1st, 2020. I've been keeping track of the temperatures every day for the last month of January. And we've had a pretty mild winter here so far. We had one day that was 15 degrees. So now it's February 1st, and it's 38 degrees out here today. So Let's turn the switches on the engines and let's start them up and see if they all run. But before we start the first engine, let's take a look at the fuel after 1 month and see if we have any discoloration. Looks the same. They all pretty much look the same. I don't see any discoloration. One. Now, in the comments, I noticed some of y'all had a good idea about marking the jars so we could see how much fuel evaporated in 1 month. So we went ahead and marked the jars. The vented jars, the ones that are vented, because those are the ones that are evaporating. And you can see just how much evaporation we had in 1 month. Well, they all started, and you can see the rate of evaporation is pretty consistent from all 10 vented jars.
Your little fuel experiment there is getting a little stale. Unlike that fuel, I think it's time we switched it up a little bit.
Switch it up a bit? How?
Well, I took these 2 engines you had laying around that you didn't use for the experiment, and I mounted them on these pressure washer stands.
Oh, so you just took it upon yourself to take 2 of my junk pressure washer frames, mount the 2 remaining engines that I got from Aaron's, and mount them on them frames for what?
Because I think we need to fill these with gas and let them sit for 3 months. 1 inside the shed, 1 outside the shed. And then see what happens then. Make it a little interesting.
Yeah, well, that doesn't sound like a bad idea. So we should probably put what, the 87 octane in there?
Yeah, I would. That seems to be what most people use.
All right, well, we got that gas can with 87 octane in it. It's already 6 months old. So, yeah, we're 6 months into this experiment, so that would work. And then we're gonna leave 1 inside and 1 outside.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Okay.
I'm gonna go hide this somewhere so you can't find it for 3 months.
And this one we'll put in the shed. And here we're in July 1st. And as you can see, 82 degrees, but this is late in the day. Earlier when we came out here it was 92, so it cooled off by about 10 degrees. Uh-oh, we're having trouble. Put the choke in. Runs and dies, runs and dies!
Oh, K100, no! That's for the one I had my money on.
Uh-oh, got the choke out.
Sure gas is on?
Yeah, gas is on.
Got enough gas in it? Smells not too good.
Yeah, there's gas in there. About a little less than half.
Oh, looks like we got our first one out.
K100. Got the choke out again. Won't stay running with the choke out.
Well,
First step
K100's
over.
out. K100's out.
Okay, we're gonna let that one sit. We're gonna pull the motor off the bench. We're gonna look in the carburetor. All right, let's try with choke in.
Nothing. Yep, he's done.
All right, here we go. See what little surprise we got in here. Try to contain most of that fuel. Looky there. There's crap in there already. 6 months into this experiment. Even a little rust. Hold on, let me get something over here. There's an empty water bottle, I think. Let's go over here where there's some better light. So I'm gonna dump this into here. Look, there's some kind of red, I thought it was rust. Some kind of red crap down in the bottom of that. Look at that. There's some crap there on my finger. Starting to deteriorate.
I think we need to address this little K100 issue over here from last month's video.
What's there to address? It failed. The fuel treatment failed. So let's move on.
No, I don't think so. A lot of comments. People want to see the fuel. They want you to address the issues that were going on with it. I've seen a lot of comments about it.
Okay, well that's a good idea, Ronnie. Yeah, we could drain the fuel out and show it. And I can clean the main jet on it because that's why it wouldn't start, because that's how carburetors work. When they run and die, can't pull up any fuel through the main jet. Okay, it's all out. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, I kind of want to take a sip.
So, what had happened is, the carburetor has got an atmospheric vent on it. And that small amount that was in the float bowl, that's what had deteriorated. So let's take the carb spray we got. Blow it through the main jet. Now remember, this gas tank has got this filter on it that we poured the fuel through. And the gas can also has a filter in it.
And there's probably another little filter down in here.
More than likely. I'll bolt this back to the bench. We're gonna pour this fuel, this same fuel, we're gonna pour it back in there. And we're gonna see if it starts. Okay, got it all back together. We even got a paint strainer in our funnel. We got the other strainer in there. There you have it. It was a carburetor issue. You seen this engine, it ran for 6 months before, ran every month, then all of a sudden that month, last month, it didn't want to start. And I tried starting it several times. It only run for a second, and that was at the choke out. It run and died. Plugged main jet. And you seen the crap in the bowl. You seen the stuff that was in the bowl. I dug it out with my finger and showed you. That's deteriorated fuel. And that red stuff, that's not the tip of the needle. If the needle was bad, if it had a bad needle and seat, the gas would have all leaked out. You got a leaky needle and seat, the gas is going to leak out. And it's going to leak out through the center of here, and it would have drained all out of here. It would have just ran out, and the tank would have been empty. So it wasn't the tip of the needle. So there you have it. K100 failed. All right, as you can see, we've got about the same amount of evaporation, and boy, look at the color change from the sealed jar to the vented jar.
Yeah, look at that number 8.
Now you notice the VP's got some kind of discoloration going on too. Kind of like a gray almost. It's turning. It's getting a little discoloration to it. So now it's been sitting for 3 months. Let's see if it'll fire up. Just started already. Ah, ain't starting. Switch is on. Choke is out. Oh, there it goes. Well, it started, but it took a lot of pulls. So maybe there is a little truth to that, starting these and letting them run a little bit. Maybe there is some truth to that. You know what maybe we need to do is when we start them, just let them run for a second and shut them off right away. Maybe I'm running them too long. Because remember, sometimes people aren't starting their stuff every month. They're just putting an additive in it and shoving it in the barn and just letting it sit. Or shoving it in their shed or their garage. And they're just letting it sit for all those months. So maybe I'm running them too long. Maybe I should just turn it on, start it, make sure it runs, push the choke in, let it run for about 10 or 15 seconds, and shut it off. Let's try that next month. But let's let this sit another 3 months, huh? Let's change that September to December. All right, here we go. Switch on, choke out. Sitting in the sun, baking, cooking, getting rained on and everything for the past 3 months. For sure it wasn't going to start. That's why I brought that jar out here and a 10mm wrench, but it started.
Wow, can't believe that.
So I have to change this now from September, changing the month to December. Do you remember when we started the mower in December? And we're changing the date to December. Well, they all fired up again. We had Gas Guardian was struggling. Well, they all ran. Some easier than others. Like these started pretty easy, but those over there had strugglization.
Yeah, they ran a little crappy at first, but eventually they smoothed out.
You know, I had to keep purging the choke on it to keep
Yeah,
them running, a couple of them. Kind of purge that fuel through there. Oh yeah, they're still running.
I'm surprised that 10 months in, we've only had one go out.
Well, they all started again. They struggled, but they started. Anywhere between 9 and what, 22 full?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And you still got this
Oh
one
yeah, we
here.
got the other one.
And that one outside still.
Oh, that we're sitting for 3 months. Been sitting for 3 months now, remember?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 20, 21, 22, 23.
It ain't starting.
No.
Just take it to that bucktooth hillbilly and have him fix it.
Or you can take it over to Gordy's place. He's pretty good mechanic. Not.
All right, spray a little carb spray, which works just as good as starting fluid. So it needed a little help. It was no way going to start on its own. It needed a little help. All right, now this one's been sitting outside for 3 months like the other one. Chances are it ain't going to start either because it's been in the rain and everything else. $87 octane in here. It's going to blow up. You're going to blow up the engine by adding fuel to the carburetor. Had to give it a shot to get it going, but once I gave it a shot, it kept running, so that counts in my book. Let's do another 3 months. What do you say, huh? Another 3 months?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So that would be March 1st. Come on, slippers, this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 8. Ah! Now I got a recoil I gotta fix.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
Alright, there you have it. 1 year. This gas is now 1 year old that's in these engines. In the tank, 1 year old now. It's a baby. Still pooping in a diaper. So, this is what I think. This is just my opinion. None of this stuff works. Snake oil. That's what I think. Because those engines that are untreated started and ran, they all ran about the same. That seafoam ran really bad until it smoothed out. Of course, I got to keep choking them because, again, I think the fuel that's in the bowl has deteriorated and it's letting in the fresher stuff that's in the bigger area there. So we're going to keep going. I'm going to go and get the engine that had K100 in it. We're going to bolt it back to the bench. We're going to take the fuel that's in that K100 can. We're going to fill that engine and we're going to start that K100 engine. We're going to throw it back in. How does that sound? We're going to give it a second chance. K100 engine, this is your chance to redeem yourself. So look, there's a screen in here and it's pretty fine. And here's the K100 can that's been sitting for a year. Look at it. It's all sucked in. Now you gotta remember, I overdosed this a little bit, so this has actually got more than recommended. And it's full. Now the other ones, we ran fuel out of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 12. Not.
What even got back in?
Spray a little carb spray in there as starting fluid. K100 needed a little help. It'd been sitting for about, 6-7 months since it failed, because it was the first one to fail. So I shut it off. I'm going to turn it back on. Now that's warmed up. Let's see how it starts. All right, K100, you're back in the game. So I got this little syringe here, and we're going to suck the fuel out. And look at the color of it. So it hasn't got a lot of air because it's not really discolored. So the fuel in these newer engine gas tanks, even though they're vented, still seems to keep the fuel from getting deteriorated. Okay. So it is slightly darker. I mean, it's not as dark as the stuff that's got air going to it, but it's dark. Let's get the seal jar out. Oh, no, looks basically the same color. All right, so there's some proof that these gas tanks, these newer ones, even though they're vented, are not letting in a lot of air to deteriorate the fuel. So again, the fuel deterioration is taking place in that float bowl, that small amount of fuel that's in there, probably less than an ounce. That's deteriorating over a month. And I'll be very surprised if this thing starts.
1, 2, 3, 10.
don't know if the camera caught it or not, but this big flash out of the muffin, when it did pop, fired, and farted, and started. Alright, well, they're all starting. So, there's got to be some truth to that starting them every month. Is getting the old fuel out of the float bowl and bringing in some new, fresher stuff. So, I wonder if we should change it up a little bit, or...
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we could skip a month, maybe go 2 months, or drag this thing outside for a month or something. I don't know. Maybe, what do you guys think? What do you guys want to see?
Maybe
switch it up a little bit for
skip
next
a
month.
month?
Yeah.
Let it go for like 2 months?
See if they'll start after that.
Because again...
Or if you want to just drop the bowls on all of them next month and just look at it and then start a new test or something. What do you guys think? It's up to you. What do you guys want? What do you guys think we should do?
Yeah, because this all arose from people bringing their stuff in, and it's like, I've been going out there every month and starting it, now it won't start. Well, come to find out, yeah, they probably weren't starting it every month.
Skipping a month.
Or starting it every once in a while.
Yeah.
So we read the comments that y'all wrote in, and we're going to skip a month. We're not going to start these today. We're going to start these April 1st, so that way they sat for 2 months. But we are going to start these 2. Remember these? Remember I put on there, start me March 1st, 2021? That's today. You're probably not going to start.
Oh, did you hear it? Fire up.
So 14, 15-month-old pump fuel. No additive at all, and it started. Took quite a few pulls when it did start. About a week ago, we had about 2 foot of snow out here. And it just started to warm up and everything kind of melted. This is what's left. So this thing was under snow. It was completely buried in snow.
Oh, probably fire right up, I bet.
And again, this just has regular 87 octane pump fuel that's 14, 15 months old now. Oh. So what was that? That was 3 months, right? It's that?
Yeah.
Wasn't it December 1st? We
Yep.
started them?
3 months.
And again, maybe half, maybe less than half. It's hard to tell, but it's about half or a little less than half a tank.
Well, looks like we're gonna have to do another 3 months.
Regular 87 octane, no fuel additive at all. 15 months old.
I didn't think they would start.
Neither did I. When I heard it pop, I was like, okay, it's gonna start.
Yep.
Start me June 1st, 2021. All right, we'll do the same to the other engine. Okay, they've all started again. So let's reiterate what we've gone over again today. 10 engines, over a year. Fuel treatments, no fuel treatments, engines are still starting. We had one that failed that was out, it's back in. Still got the same gas that we bought over a year ago that's in that engine. So, again, you make up your mind. What do you think's going on here? Again, like I said, snake oils, all snake oils. I'm not picking on one. I'm saying they're all snake oils, in my opinion. Because I got 2 engines with no fuel treatments in it. And you're watching this video, they're starting all about the same amount of pulls. Still got to choke them. The only one that's outperforming than the other ones is the VP. Because that one, once it starts, all I do is push it in. Has no ethanol in it. So that means something. Understand? So we're watching this, and look, they're all starting. You know what? If you like these different products here and you're using them, that's fine. Use them. Use them all you want. Buy them. I don't care. I don't use this stuff in any of my equipment. You know why? Because I own a small engine shop, and if my stuff don't run, I know how to get it running. So before we start, I noticed one thing, because we haven't been out here in 2 months, remember? We were going to wait every 2 months now. And I noticed that the sealed jars, the fuel was evaporating. In the jars that aren't vented. And there's quite a bit of evaporation going on. This one's a dead soldier.
About 23 pulls there.
All right. Give her a little shot, Elkskins. Choke was out. Oh, it died on its own.
That one's definitely on its way out.
I didn't do anything to it. There's still gas in it. I don't know if you can see in there. I should have brought that little light with me.
Let me go get it real quick.
I think this one we can count as out. I'm gonna try to start it again without any starting fluid to help it. Yeah, it won't stay running. Joke's out. Stun shield. Oh, joke's out. Oh!
Let me get around you, Taryl.
Let's just verify that it is a carburetor problem, even though it did start for a second. Oh! Won't stay running on its own. Okay, we got 2, 93 and stent shield. Alright, now we got the inside and outside engines that have been sitting for 3 months. Remember them? And they got just 87 octane in them, remember? Probably not. Pulls, 87 octane, been sitting for 3 months. Sitting outside getting rained down. We got an inch of rain or so. What, last week?
Yeah, it was constant.
And it's been sitting, like I said, it's been sitting right here in this spot for 3 months. Took a few more pulls, but started 87 octane, no additive at all in it. Oh, wow. Yeah.
I'm surprised it even started.
Elkskins, go get me some toast to go with this jelly.
I don't think that's the edible kind of jelly, Taryl.
Look at that jelly in there. Peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly time. Look at the fuel. Look at the color of the fuel, even though we just sucked some out of the tank and looked at it. So look at the leg of the carburetor. Look at it. Still got all that jelly on there too. All right, we're gonna shut the fuel off. This is the 93 now. That wouldn't stay running. Same thing.
Yeah, and it's got...
Look at the jelly. This has got massive jelly.
And it's around the leg of the carburetor, too.
Just like the other one.
Yes.
Full of jelly.
You see it right up here. And
so we got 2 out. 93 and stent shield. Now, I'm guessing there's probably some sort of that gel in all of these engines going on right now. I bet you there is. I bet you that stuff is going on in it right now, but we're gonna have to wait another 2 months to find out. Gonna find out in another 2 months, right, Elkskins?
that's right. There's a couple of them that were running cruddy, and I bet you they were the next one.
Yeah, that ethanol shield wasn't running too good, so. And then these, another 3 months. The inside, outside, I already relabeled them. Start me September 1st. Oh, ran and died with the choke out. Wow. Put the choke in. No starty. All right, I'm gonna give it a little shot of this. All right.
Bye-bye.
That one went bye-bye. The VP. Now look at this. 19 months, 8 ounces of fuel. There's just a smidgen left. It's pretty dark. And here's the unvented. Still evaporated some. Even sealed. Switch on. Chokes out. K100's back in the game. Now this one really had an unfair advantage. We took it out and then we put it back in, and the fuel was way overdosed than what they recommended, and I agree with a lot of y'all. We should have just left that one out. When it was out, it was out.
It's true.
Seafoam, I can't even see the tags anymore. Switch on, choke out. Nothing.
Come on, Seafoam. Can't do this to me. It's only been 19 months.
Give a little help. Chokes out.
Probably needs a valve job.
It's a brand new engine.
Oh, that's right.
Running and dying. Oh. Choke's still out.
Might be the last one standing. BP.
It's only running on carb spray. Won't stay running.
Oh, they're dropping like flies.
Stay belt 360. Stay belt 360 still in the game.
Awesome.
Gas Guardian. I think we have to count this one as out because it'll only run with the choke on. And I'm thinking, you know what, if I had an engine that only ran with the choke on, I'm going to be taking that to the dealer, or I'm going to take it to a mower repair shop and find out why it only runs the choke on. So we got to count this one out. I'm counting it out.
Just run it on choke till it fouls the plug out. Then it wins.
No. Let me start stay-bill again.
Should only count if the choke's in.
And run smooth. Let's try this Guardian again. Yeah, that counts as out. You're out!
Probably just die out under a load.
Yeah, it don't have a load on it. Switch on, choke out, start on. That died all together there.
Yeah, I guess.
There's no gas in it. Not a lot.
Nope, turning your air filter, you're out.
Hey, that's a good way to look at it. There's the jelly. Peanut butter jelly time! Peanut butter jelly time! And look at the float bowl. This is a metal bowl, so already rusted from moisture. 19 months. Look at that. Clean as a whistle.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
So that ethanol is the problem. That ethanol is what's ruining the carburetors. And this fuel additives that claim to help with ethanol problems is not working. They don't work. This has got the unfair advantage. We took it out for a year, then we put it back in because of the belly aching. So we thought we'd put it back in. But the gas was kept in this sealed container. So the gas in here is still good. Plus we overdosed it because it said it makes water burn, and we proved that it doesn't do that.
This one's still in.
Some rust and stuff going on. But again, this is only, what? First of the year we put this one back in, I believe. So that's basically 7 months. More peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly time. So what's the conclusion we're coming to here? Whether you use fuel additive or not, you're going to get the same results 19 months later. A couple of them dropped out a little early. Look at that, all that rust in there. Again, look at the leg. Look at the leg of the carburetor. Same result. There's crap in there. Not as bad as the seafoam one.
It's still pretty crusted up on that.
I wonder if their mechanic in a bottle, if we would have poured that in there, if that would have worked.
Yeah.
Mechanic in a bottle. We tested that mechanic in a bottle. We must have had an old batch of it or something. Our mechanic, I think, in the bottle was dead. Because we had several generators that wouldn't run. And we poured that stuff in there. And we did just like they said. We let it run through. We let it sit. Some of it we let sit for days. And guess what? Generators, they still wouldn't run. They were ones that came in for repair. And I thought, well, these would be good to do a test on with this mechanic in a bottle. Now there looks like a little bit of gel right there on the nut. Oh yeah. The rust in the bowl isn't that bad. Quite a bit of gel on the main leg here. But still, that is not letting fuel pass through the main jet in order to let this run. All right, look, see? We got gel going on, but it ran. Now a little bit escaped, and there's quite a bit on the leg, but it did run. And there's gel. Look at the gel. Oh, look at that. And all on the main leg again. And today is September 1st. And now we have the inside-outside engines that we have to start that have just regular 87 octane pump fuel in it. And those engines have been inside, outside since June of last year. So roughly 12 June, July, August, September, roughly 15 months now. So we're going to try to start them and see if they're going to start. So this was the inside engine. This was the one that was inside. Switch on, choke out. It's not starting. Oh, there it goes. Oh, ran and died. Choke is out. Quite a few pulls, but it did start. But since this experiment is going to be coming to a close, we're going to go ahead and drop the bowl on this. But let's go start the outside engine. Not starting. Smoking quite a bit. So you look, after 15 months, standard pump fuel, we already got some gel going on. Got quite a bit going on here on the leg. Oh wow. There's that water in it. The outside engine. Look at that. I'm surprised it ran. Look at all that water. Oh, look at the rust. Look at how bad this one is. So yeah, keeping it outside sure makes a difference. And that was after 15 months. So this one was kept inside. This is just pump fuel, no fuel additives. And then this was the one that was kept outside. And it's got considerable amount of water in there, and it started and it ran. You heard it, you seen it. And we're about to start the second phase of the fuel experiment. And the second phase being, we're going to let the engine sit for 6 months now, under the suggestions of you grass rats out there in the comment section. So instead of starting them every month like we did before and every couple months, now we're going to start them up and we're going to let them sit for 6 months. So today is November 13th that we're doing this. We're adding 4 new fuel products to try. Because you grass rats were telling us about the Marvel Mystery Oil, and a few of you grass rats told us about this product we never heard of before, this Free G. And then there's Lucas, and then Walbro, the carburetor makers, they have their own fuel treatment. And then we're going to use the existing 7 treatments we used in the very first test. The K100, the Sten Shield, the Ethanol Shield, the Startron, the Seafoam, the Gas Guardian, and the Stay-Built 360. This is one of the carburetors that's off the engines that we used in the experiment. Now, these engines ran for 19 months. And one of the things that Elkskins pointed out is, if you know how carburetors work, on this particular carburetor, the fuel is picked up from the float bowl through this hole, and then it draws it through the main jet, which is way down in there. So our thinking is, the reason they ran so long with all that gel in there is because all that gel accumulated in the bottom of the float bowl. So it took quite a while for it to build up to start to block this hole, which in turn blocked the jet, which kept the engine from running. Another thing we did is there was corrosion in all the float bowls on these carburetors when we took them apart. The only one that didn't have any corrosion was the VP engine. And they wanted that engine, so we gave them the engine. and they wanted a float bowl that had corrosion in it, so we gave them a float bowl from one of the other engines. So one of these engines has a new float bowl on it. The other 11 engines, we sandblasted the float bowl so it'd be nice and clean. So at the end of 6 months, or at the end of this experiment, whenever it ends, it may end in 10 months, when we drop the bowls, there won't be corrosion in there from the previous experiment. So all the bowls have been cleaned, and that's how they look. I said 6 months, actually it's 5 months. So from November to April is 5 months, not 6 months, because I counted November as a month. I'm bad at math. And there's your dinner. Let's go out there and start them engines, if they'll start. Number 1, 87 octane. Switch on, chokes out. Number 3 is the Lucas stabilizer, fuel treatment, snake oil. Number 4 is K100, the controversial fuel treatment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Fire it up. Fire it up.
Shut up, Ronnie. All right, snake oil number 5, seafoam. The 87 octane started up pretty good. It's almost like these fuel additives are worse for them than better. All right, number 6 is the Sten's Shield. I guess it shielded it. Number 7 is ethanol shield. Switch on, choke out, ethanol shield. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I was afraid it wasn't going to start and I was going to have to send in mechanic in a bottle. they're the ones that make mechanic in a bottle, ethanol shield. Number 8, Stabil 360. Number 9, Gas Guardian. Whoa. guess if gasoline's an orphan, it needs a guardian. Gas guardian.
I don't get it.
Number 10, Startron. Startron, Starlight, Starbright. Now this one's kind of hard to pull because I'm in this corner. Oh! Startron, the intergalactic fuel treatment. Get it, Startron? That's what you'd run in the space shuttle. Number 11, Walbro. That one fired right up and ran smooth. And this has got the Marvel mystery oil in it.
What's the mystery all about?
I don't know. It's a mystery. They won't tell you. So there you have it. That's the amount of time you would store your equipment over the winter, is what we did here.
Yeah, about 6 months.
Yeah, we let it sit. And as I thought, they would all start. Whether it had a fuel additive in it or not, they all started because the one has just 87 octane. Already started to gel. Gel already started to form in the 87 octane. Looky there. Clean. This one's clean.
No gel?
No gel.
That's good.
It's clean. Oh, look at this. Seafoam.
Uh-oh.
Started to rust. Started to gel. Look at, there's all the gel and crap in there.
Wow. That's kind of a shocker. None of the other ones had that.
Nope. Stench shield. Small amount of rust. Oh, look at this. Look at that ethanol shield. That shield must have had a hole in it. I don't even think if we would have sent mechanic in a bottle in, that would have helped any. It already got the gel starting and some, looks like rust. It's all up the leg. Now remember before I explained that the fuel goes in this hole right here on the side. So on this carburetor design, it takes a lot of buildup for it to get up to this hole to block it before it goes in the main jet, which is up in the center of the carburetor on this design. That's why we got the Tacumish one over there, because that main jet is in the bowl nut. Those tend to clog up faster because, you know, gravity is going to go right to the bowl nut. That's my opinion. That's a bad carburetor design. Staville 360
Did its job.
it did its job.
There was a Stable 180 on this one.
Leave the joke to me, Ron.
Oh, all right, I'm sorry.
Maybe they should come up with another one that's called gas conservatorship. Another fuel treatment. Britney Spears endorses that one. Gas Guardian did its job. Oh, Startron.
Oh, I can't believe that.
Look at that. That was worse. That was worse than the ethanol.
I don't think
I mean, yeah, the regular 87 octane with the ethanol in it. Look at that gel. Wow.
You don't want to show that to Captain Kirk.
Spot, immediately get rid of all the Startron in the fleet. You did their job after 6 months, and Walbro's one of them.
Good job, bro.
Some caca in there. Little bit. Starting to form.
It's a mystery.
Look at the fuel. Fuel don't look all that great either. Looks like it's starting to deteriorate. But it did run. It did start right up. Yeah, you can see there's some stuff starting to form in there after 6 months. Kind of disappointing for all you Marvel Mystery Oil fans. So what did we learn? We learned that some of these snake oils will protect for up to 6 months, and then in our long-term 19-month, experiment, it eventually will break down, and you'll have the same results with the gel in there and the rust and the moisture. So for short term, over the winter, some of these products did work. My feeling is if you want 100% protection for long-term storage, you got to go with the engineered fuel. You got to go with either the Aspen, which is an alkaline fuel, which is probably the best because it doesn't attack the rubber or plastic, or you'd have to use one of the other engineered fuels that are on the market. We've got a video on that. If you haven't seen it, check that one out too. Pterodactyl here, and today we're going to do what's called a burn test on all these engineered fuels to see which one burns the cleanest. We're going to pour it on this plate. Well, that didn't burn very clean.
No, I seen a lot of black smoke there.
All right, let's try another one. That even looks dirtier than the other two. Next is Aspen. And this is in a plastic bottle. Wow.
Yeah, that burned really clean.
That burned clean. Now the Moto mix. Ooh. Well, that one burned pretty clean.
Yeah, smoke wasn't as bad on that one either.
There is one other test we can do.
Really?
It's called the peanut test.
Oh yeah, like the peanuts that you eat?
No. Packing peanuts.
Cool.
Styrofoam.
What are we gonna do with those?
We're going to stick these styrofoam peanuts in a mason jar with all these different fuels in it.
Okay.
And see which ones eat them up and which ones don't.
Oh, that'll be fun.
So as you can see, these packing peanuts have all dissolved, except for the one in the still. Oh, the one in the Aspen, look, it's not dissolved either.
Nice.
Dissolved. These are alkylate fuels, these two. So that's why they burn cleaner. They don't destroy rubber and plastic as much. So there's, three things you got to keep in mind, The smell of it when you're running equipment. Do you want to smell like gasoline?
Breathing in all them fumes.
You want to smell like fumes?
No.
It's good for your equipment.
Yeah, I like that too.
And it's good for the environment.
Yeah, oh yeah, I love that. That's great. So now the main thing I really want to know is what's the difference in price between these two? I'm guessing they're probably pretty expensive, right?
Well, this one is considerably cheaper than this one.
Oh, really? Wow.
And this one is more environmentally friendly because it's biodegradable.
Great. Well, I think I know which one I'm going to go with.
So let's see what is actually left behind here. And if you think about it, this is 2-cycle oil. These are 2-cycle mix. You don't want that to burn away. That's your lubrication for your engine, right there. That's the lubricant. You want the fuel to burn, but you want the lubricant to be there to lubricate that engine. And it was a clean burn. That oil looked very clean that was left behind. The still, it left behind the oily residue, but it's dirty. There's soot in there. So it didn't burn that clean. And as in the rest, it left behind the oily residue, but very little. So the Aspen, I think, in this test, probably turned out to be the best. About 3 years ago, a Taryl fan hit me up and said, you need to test this stuff. This stuff really works. You need to test it. So I got a hold of the people at Preg or Preg and talked to them. Had a lengthy conversation with the gentleman over there, Curtis, and he explained about all this stabilizer here, this fuel treatment. Now, he says this is the fuel treatment that they use in refineries. If you were on some Caribbean island, how do you get gasoline? They got to bring it in on a barge. So they have to treat that fuel. This is what they use. This is what he told me is what they use. They're out of Houston, Texas. So I guess they never sold it to the public until recently, until a few years ago. So they also claim that it'll take stale fuel that's no good, and if you add this to it, it'll bring it back to life. It'll rejuvenate old gas. That you can't overdose the fuel, so you have no fear of doing that. Okay, so we're going to pour some fresh dinosaur juice in here to prove that the engine runs. Then I'm going to drain it out. And in this gas can, I've got some old fuel that I took from the waste gas barrels that we have out in the yard. So we have 55-gallon drums out there, and we have them marked for gas and for engine oil. And then we have a company comes and pumps the barrels out periodically when we have enough for them to do. So the gas in those barrels is 2-cycle oil and gas mix poured in there. It's gasoline that had got into the crankcase of some engines and mixed with the motor oil. So that's what's in those barrels. Those barrels sit outside in the heat, in the sun, and it takes months and months to fill one of them 55 gallons. So this gas in here should be bad. Gotta warm up a little bit. We'll shut it off. And now I'm going to pour this nasty stuff that was out in the barrels out there. This fuel is bad. See, it will only run on choke. This is 1 gallon. There's a 1 gallon mark right here. They said 1/8 of an ounce per gallon. So here's the Preg. We're squirting that in there. And now I'm just going to recirculate it with this transfer pump. This is how I'm going to mix it. There you go, more snake oil. Well, they say you can't overdose it, so let's pour some more in there and see what happens. It worked. You've seen it with your own eyeballs. Now you've seen it all. Now you can gouge your eyes out. You've seen it all. So you saw before it would only run with the choke on. And then it would just keep dying. And then we put the recommended dosage in there. And it still would only run with the choke on. So then we doubled the dose. Mixed it up. And then it ran with the choke off, but it was surging. And then I just started putting some drops in there, trying to see if the more I added, if that surging would go away. And it got better and better. So I think they were off a little bit on their calculations as far as how much to put in there. But like they claim, you can't hurt it by overdosing it. Now, I wish I had some gas that was bad enough that it wouldn't run at all to try to get it to run. So then I went out there and I found a lawn tractor that's got, this is that stuff that, it's got that nasty smell to it. We're basically getting the same result as we did with the other stuff. It'll run on choke, but it just won't run with the choke on. And I'll tell you, this stuff smells really bad. We'll just overdose the crap out of it and see what happens. We'll put like 5 milliliters in there. G has made a believer out of me. You seen it, real time. Nasty, putrid smelling gas. There's a thing, it's called phase separation. And what phase separation is when water separates from the gasoline. And the reason water separates from the gasoline is because alcohol and water are attracted to each other. So we've got some pump fuel here that's got 10% ethanol in it. Now, the alcohol in it, the ethanol, is like a sponge. Think of it like a sponge. So it will absorb moisture from the air. Moisture being water from the air. So the alcohol in the fuel will absorb moisture or water from the air, and it'll suck it up like a sponge. And when it cannot absorb any more water, which I've explained all this in our 19-month fuel experiment video, when it can't absorb any more water, like a sponge, when you put a sponge in a bucket of water It absorbs the water to the point where the water is dripping out of the sponge. The same thing happens with the fuel. It'll separate. And the water being heavier, it'll go to the bottom. So you can put your snake oils in there and put your water in there and swirl it around, and oh, look, it absorbed the water. Oh, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, this pump fuel will do the same thing because alcohol and water are attracted to each other. So let's do it. Let's do a little experiment right now. There's no snake oils in this gas. This is pump fuel with 10% ethanol. And I got a little syringe here with some water in it. And we're going to put a few drops of water in here. See the water? You can see it down there. See it? Now, if I keep swirling it around, that's why you got to be careful with these snake oil salesmen when they come in your shop and they're showing you these little experiments. They're tricking you to buy their snake oil. That's why they're snake oil salesmen. They're leaving out one important part. The fuel will absorb so much water to begin with. And when it absorbs that water, it'll make it burn. Because it's in there. It's in the alcohol. It's mixed in with the alcohol. Oh, look, the water, it disappeared. It magically disappeared. It's like Lucky Charms. Magically delicious. I've seen as much as an inch of water in the bottom of a tank. How much of this stuff are you going to have to pour in there to absorb an inch of water? Here's our jar. It's been sitting here while we were filming. See? There's no drops of water in there. I could put some more in there. Put a few more drops in there. Let's see if it'll absorb it, how much it'll absorb. Let's go pretty much. Let's put a lot in there. See, you can see it. There's the water. It's percolating. See, look at it. It's like the blob. The blob. We swirl it around enough. It should absorb that water. And it'll burn because it's absorbed in there. It'll make it burn. So again, whatever chemical they're putting in these products that claim they're going to absorb water, which is probably, again, alcohol, ethanol or methanol or something. That's why you have that alcohol tester, that little vial, so you can test how much alcohol's in the fuel. Cloudy. Too many drops of water. That small amount, that 10% of alcohol in there, wouldn't absorb that few more drops I put in there. It sucked up all it can take. It can't take no more.